gut and the brain connection, your whole system is not talking properly. It doesn't have a clear line of communication. Energetically, what the gut is, it's your intuitive gut response. If your gut is off balance and it's not connected to your brain, you're walking down the street, you're buying a house, you're getting involved in a relationship, you're buying a car, you're going to a new job, and you have to pick two, or you have to pick three different people, 3 different jobs, 3 different houses. If your gut response and your gut lining is not intact, you're not receiving that message from your gut to your brain, it's severed. It's severed. So you're not getting the right response. Your brain starts to take over, and it starts to think logically about where you should go, not where your peace is, not where your gut response is. If you don't have the mucilaginous material and the microvilla, they're not allowing you to take nutrients and suck nutrients into your body. So you're always hungry and you're always tired because you have a leaky gut. There's something called leaky gut. When you don't have a healthy gut lining, it directly affects the kidneys and the liver. Now the kidneys and the liver are working overtime to get rid of any kind of waste products or oils, fats, anything that doesn't serve the body. Your gut is that you need to be able to absorb nutrients. You're not absorbing nutrients and you're always hungry, and the fat is being stored, nothing is being processed properly. Acidity formed in the gut actually floods the hippocampus, which is your fight, flight, or freeze response. Of course, from coffee, floods the hippocampus and you're in your fight, flight, or freeze, or competition. The gut essentially breaks down the foods into proteins, carbohydrates, oils. Small intestine sucks up the oils. How does it work though? There's mucilaginous material starting all the way from the throat, all the way down to the colon. And there's little tentacles, little hairs, if you want to call them, called microvilla, or cilia, microvilla. You can call it either or. And what they do is they're surrounded by this mucilaginous material, and it sucks down. The mucilaginous material allows it to move through your small intestine, your large intestine, your throat, okay? Now, what happens when we eat certain foods, especially acidic foods? The acidic foods completely annihilate and remove the mucilaginous material all the way from your throat, all the way down to your gut. So now the microvilla cannot do its job, and it also starts getting acid into it and deteriorating. Now, what kind of foods really do this, right? Fried foods. Fried foods are very aggressive. Tomato sauce is very aggressive. Lemon juice can be very aggressive. Lime juice can be very aggressive. If you don't have the proper balance in your diet, you haven't rebuilt your gut lining. There's lots of food. 90% of the foods that you find, onions, garlic, extremely acidic, extremely bad for your gut lining, your throat, your overall. 70% of our immunity is in our gut. You've heard of the gut and the brain connection. That's huge. So there's 2 things that I found that absolutely rebuild the microvilla and the mucilaginous material in your gut. And that one is marshmallow root, and the other is slippery elm. Now, where do you get this marshmallow root? You gotta make sure, and the slippery elm, you gotta make sure that you're getting it from farmers that practice regenerative farming, because one of them is a bark and one of them is a root. So it consistently sits in the ground. So if it's not regenerative and they're ripping the soil, tilling the soil, and putting, I call it ketchup packets or nutrient packets in there. We've looked at a tilling farm and we've smelled it and we've tried the product from it. And then we tried the product from a regenerative farm. The smell alone from the tilling farm is so faint and low, it barely has the characteristic smell Also, I just want to add that when you're shopping for herbs, and it's really good to go to your local herb shop, because this way people come in to the shop and they go, oh, what's that? Devil's claw? Oh, I have back problems. I have lower back issues, right? And also they smell. If the herb smells really familiar to you, you say, oh, it smells like chicken soup. Or, oh, it smells like this. And it's something nice, a fond memory, a good memory. That is your consciousness talking to you and saying that that herb is phenomenal for you and that your body is looking for that. So just a quick pointer, go into your herb shop, smell the herbs, look at the herbs, see if something pops out on you. So that's a quick little tidbit I just wanted to get into. So the difference between marshmallow root and slippery elm. Marshmallow root coats from the top of your esophagus, your throat, and it moves all the way down through into your small intestine, your large intestine, into your gut, and it grows back your stomach lining. I literally had a bloody ulcer where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would have acid just completely coming up, laying down, had to get up quickly, and I had acid coming out into my mouth, and sometimes blood, okay? So marshmallow root completely repaired it. 3 months. But the difference between marshmallow root and slippery elm is it starts from the top of your body, your esophagus, all the way down to your gut. Then the slippery elm moves through your 3 colons, down and out. So that creates the mucilaginous material in your bottom extremities of your gut, okay, which is your 3 colons. So taking them together, depending on what you're dealing with, if you're dealing with a lot of acid reflux, you want to go heavier on the marshmallow root. If you're dealing with a lot of constipation, you really want to look at the slippery elm and do that. Now, that's how it rebuilds. It's going to form the mucilaginous material from your esophagus, if you take them together, all the way down to your colon. The time frame is about 3 months for a complete gut rehabilitation. So how do you take this? You take the marshmallow root and the slippery elm together. Typically, I like to take them together, and you'll take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. If you can fast for the morning, I suggest at least 20 minutes on an empty stomach, 20 to 30 minutes on an empty stomach. And if you're drinking coffee, I would suggest get away from it. But if you cannot get away from the coffee, just like many people these days cannot get away from the coffee, I suggest that you wait 20 minutes before you drink your coffee. The marshmallow root and the slippery elm will pH balance your whole body. So you won't see healing as quickly as you can if you're drinking the coffee. If you stop drinking the coffee, that is the #1 acid that you can put in your body. If you can stop drinking the coffee, that would be, you would see leaps and bounds immediately in your day-to-day functions, okay? So it takes 3 months, 20 minutes at least on an empty stomach. Do not eat anything, you can drink water. If you're doing like, a smoothie, you can take that in 20, 30 minutes, but at least 20 to 30 minutes. If you can wait an hour before you eat, that would be ideal. Now, how it works. When you take pharmaceuticals, you start out small, you start out 1 pill, and then you continuously and gradually move into more and more pills. With the herbs, you'll start out high on a higher dose with herbs, and then you'll come down and you'll have just maintenance doses after 3 months. You know that you're gonna go and you're gonna drink coffee. You take a dose. You know that you're gonna have pasta and tomato sauce, okay? I could not drink coffee, eat tomato sauce, do anything acidic at all. That's where I was at. After doing this gut blend, I can drink now coffee, I can eat tomato sauce, lemon, lime, ginger, turmeric, nothing hurts my stomach. How to take it if you have extreme acid reflux or extreme digestion. Typically, what I do is when it's extreme, you start out with a tablespoon. This is actually growing back the stomach lining. So if you have an extreme case, extreme constipation, you're constipated, or you have extreme acid reflux, or you have a bloody ulcer, this is what you'll do. You'll start out with more, and over time, your body will regulate itself out, and you won't need as much, and you'll just do maintenance doses. So all you do is you take a tablespoon, put it in here, some hot water, stir the water, and then drink. Bottoms up.